Hey guys, Ash here, Raid Shadow Legends. Welcome to the video. I'm not alone. I am thrilled to be joined by KruYsen. KruYsen, welcome back to the channel, man. You're one of my favorite collabs possible here on the channel, dude. I learn so much every time I have you on. You're a top arena player inside the entire game. Oftentimes, several accounts in the top 10 in the world. #1 perennially. KruYsen, how you doing, man?
Good, bro. And thanks for having me here once more. It's always a fun video when I'm with you talking about what we love.
Yeah, man, I'm doing a little relic crafting in the background too. If I get anything good too in the background, I got Unholy Grail. I got a legendary Unholy Grail #2. Awesome. And we'll do one more. We'll do one Chimera here. I made a little note to myself. I am never gonna do a relic craft not recording it just for the heck of it. I got a Diemdom of Undeath, the ally protection one. Okay, so nothing exciting to write home about at the top of the video here. But how you doing, man? How do you like the live arena seasons?
I like it because it's a new thing. Let's say not new. It's the same thing but different.
Same, but different. But still same.
It's good to refresh. It's good to refresh, and I like the more new people are doing arena because it refreshed somehow.
Yeah, there's a lot of new faces.
Yeah, I enjoyed more new people to face, to be excited about the content and things like that, more than the actual season, because I would do it in a different way if it was me doing it.
I just wanted to get your quick take on it since you're all over the place when it comes to the arena. You're at the top leaderboards everywhere. Currently 12 here at the time of the recording in the live arena seasons, I should say. I'm holding down at 59, but I have my eyes set on the top 50. But there have been some big changes in the meta. Actually had Hades on recently, and we're talking about like the worst champions in the game, and one of his call outs is on our list, and I was like, dude, but he he wasn't aware, and I wasn't aware of like a week before that, right, that Hegemon, I'll just say his name, he's back in the meta, he's back. So things are changing. What I'm trying to say is things are changing quickly in this speed meta, and it has ramifications not just for the champions that are actually, powerful right now, but also for blessings strategy and relic strategy and gear strategy. So things are changing a lot. So whether you're an endgame player like KruYsen, or if you're just, struggling to refine your team or grind your great haul, hopefully you can get some inspiration here in terms of some of those blessings and gearing changes, as well as some of the champions, some of the new faces that are really redefining the meta. So that's the goal in today's video. Man, I don't think I've ever been so succinct in my whole life, KruYsen. I want to start a little bit with blessings, man, right? Because one thing I told you off air is, man, I had taken a few months off live arena before season started, and I saw the blessings have changed dramatically, right? Like there's still a decent amount of polymorph, obviously, but not like it was before. People are using a lot of intimidating presence, temporal chains, and lightning cage. A lot, like a ton. Talk to me a little bit about blessing meta, and maybe just touch on all those blessings quickly in terms of why they're viable and why people are switching.
A few months ago, everybody was using polymorph in everybody. You use polymorph on your nukers, you polymorph on your debuffers, polymorph on your speed boosters, because everything you cared about, it was not to have your stone skin removed or being a lot of CC on your head or things like that. But after speed meta growed a little bit and became more popular, and people know they want more speed, and if they want more speed and they want to win the speed race, they're going to sacrifice something. So first they start sacrificing the stone skin on some champions to get more speed. And since they were sacrificing the stone skin, they needed to sacrifice more to be even faster. So they sacrificed some polymorph blessings to have intimidate presence and temporal chains to mitigate the speed of your opponent and get better speed on yourself. And that became a movement. Half of your blessings that were usually polymorph became temporal chains or intimidate presence. And people...
I want to cut you off rudely and ask you one thing.
Something never changed.
Should every player watching this, should they have at least one temporal chains and intimidating presence champion on their teams, on their go-tos. And if you don't have a fully 6-star blessing on a specific champion, how does that inform which blessing you would choose?
Yeah, if not 6-star, I wouldn't go for temporal chains. Temporal chains is not, I wouldn't say it's bad, but it's not anywhere as useful as a 5-star and lower that it is on 6-star. So for temporal chains specifically, if you don't have a 6-star, I wouldn't use her. I would go for another thing.
Okay.
So for temporal chains, that if you have him 6-star, you can use it. If you don't have, don't use it. And which champion are you going to use it? The champions that you use Supersonic in. If you use Supersonic set in a champion, you want your opponent to have buffs to you to play. So the perfect combo, if you have a Supersonic champion, 4 pieces of Supersonic at least, is to have temporal chain 6-star on that champion, because it's going to multiply the amount of speed you're going to get on your team and reduce on your opponent while they're buffing. So you maximize your strategy around the Supersonic. So that's the thing for temporal chains. But for intimidate presence or things like that, go for your speed booster, your fastest champion, something around that. Not going for everybody in intimidate presence just because they have a speed out or something like that. Focus it more on champions that going to actually need to boost. For example, you have a Sifi that she does not have a speed aura, but if you're going to play a Sifi, you might need a boost on your speed aura. Go for that for sure on KruYsen, on Arbas, or if you use Lazarius as your speed booster, if you use Arbiter as your speed booster, if you use Elstrid as your speed booster, go for Intimidate Presence, because it's way better than use Polymorph or something. You're gonna to maximize your chance of winning the speed race, and that's what you want if you're using a speed boost champion. If you don't use that, there are 2 blessings that are best. That Polymorph, she's still one of the crazy blessings, and Lightning Cage. Because everybody now...
Lightning Cage.
Yeah, everybody now is trying to remove your buffs. Everybody now is trying to take turns out of your buffs. And if you have Lightning Cage to add a barrier of RNG in the top of that, they might get destroyed by the chance of not removing your Stone Skin or whatever you have as buffs. And that might save you. You don't necessarily need to use Lightning Cage on Stone Skin champions only. There are champions that we have crazy passives on them. For example, the cat, the Cheshire cat.
Yeah.
He has a lot of buffs that he puts in himself. The Veil, the attack up, that you want them to be protected by the Lightning Cage. Also, the block damage that he puts with his passive. You don't want it to be removed very easily. So if you have a Lightning Cage in a champion like this, it will add another barrier of RNG into removing that, and that might save your battle. A1 of the cat can win a battle if he has the Veil on him. So you're not being removed the Veil. You get a chance to have a turn, you use an A1 and you crash the enemy team with that A1 just because the Lightning Cage procced. It's like really crazy, and the chance of Lightning Cage holding your buffs is very high.
I was gonna say the coolest thing about Lightning Cage is 1 star. 1 star Lightning Cage is a 50%. That's huge to protect the buff. Like, that seems just like, I feel like normally they're pretty stingy on their percentages. But Lightning Cage, you're rocking a 50% chance at 1 star to protect a random buff from being stolen, removed, or transferred. That's insane, man. You know, that's insane. So, like, sometimes if you just have a 1-star blessing on somebody, I feel like just go Lightning. When in doubt, why not go Lightning Cage? You know, that's some real value there.
Yeah, I was talking with a friend of mine, Fade, IPR Fade, yesterday.
Yeah.
And he had a mantra. On this meta, he said that exactly phrase to me yesterday. If someone on my team has Stone Skin, it's going to have Lightning Cage. It doesn't matter which champion. If it uses Storm Skin, it's going to use Lightning Cage's Blessing. It doesn't matter how many stars it has. It's going to be Lightning Cage. And this actually works, and is actually the meta. So if you have Storm Skin on a champion and you don't know which blessing you're going to use, go for Lightning Cage.
Okay.
If you don't,
So if you learned anything in this video, Lightning Cage. Lightning, very, very frightening. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, if you don't want to use Polymorph, that is also another option, because the champion doesn't have accuracy, or you don't have a 6-star to use the 6-star Polymorph, go for Lightning Cage.
Okay.
It will do an amazing effect with low amount of stars.
I wanted to ask about Marius specifically before we jump into the champions, right? Marius, like we've talked a lot about like how to build him on the channel and why he's so good. And I know that you've said previously that you think he's the best champion in the game, number one. I want to ask how to counter Marius. I want to ask the more difficult question, not tell us why he's good. Tell us what the heck to do against Marius in the arena, because for me, it's really, you know, pray and then probably like maybe a Harima or something like that. You know, like there's not many options. So what do you do, unless you can obviously go faster?
Yeah.
There's nothing funny about that.
He's so strong because
Right.
he's hard to counter. That's what makes him strong. It's the way you have to deal with him. But let's go. He uses AoE damage. So there are sets to mitigate AoE damage, but they are not very popular sets because you usually don't use them. But that's one way of mitigating a little bit of his damage.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing you already mentioned, it's Harima. Harima is a good counter to him. Not because he won't do damage. He will do insane amount of damage, even if Harima there. But his damage is not necessarily very high. And the amount of damage Harima is going to take from him is going to be maybe the amount of damage that he was going to need to kill your champions. So with Harima there, you have the possibility of more champions surviving him and doing their actions, which is really cool. Marius is very strong because he's able to remove your buffs. At the same time, he's going to do a lot of damage, and he's going to counterattack a lot with his passive that puts him feeble. That is extremely annoying. So a champion with all these, it's very hard to counter.
Yeah.
That's why he's so powerful. One of the things that makes him so powerful. But one of way we're dealing with him is winning the stats battle. Being faster, being more resistant, and things like that, being very tanky, so you can afford dealing with him without losing directly the battle.
Yeah.
But not everybody is able to do it, and you're never going to do it with 100% sure because you don't know the specific stats of your opponents.
I think it bears repeating to really quickly sets. I keep saying before we move to the champions, but sets in terms of right now, like you mentioned Supersonic, and I know most players are very, very familiar with, you know, Supersonic and you know, how good it is, but I'm sure a lot of players right now are saying, well, I can't win the speed race. Like I get high enough where I can't, whatever my best gear is, there's just no way I'm winning. But I just wanted to kind of double down on Supersonic being the solution, right? Like if you don't know if you're going to win the speed race, you can go with Intimidating Presence, go with Temporal Chains. We already talked about those blessings, and then go with Supersonic as well. And this is how, even without the best speed gear, even if you know you're going to get outsped, this is how you can stand a fighting chance at cutting in line.
You can put that alongside some champions that have good effects on go second forming, or even champions that break a little bit the line of the meta, like you said in the beginning of the video, Hegemon, and forming volcanoes.
Yep.
Queen of Hearts.
Yeah.
I know
we'll talk
she's
about her in a minute. Yeah. Okay. Really quickly, what do you think of the new sets? The season sets, Stone Cleaver and Rebirth. Do you think that Stone Cleaver plus Cracking Roots is going to be meta?
I don't know if they are actually going to be meta, but we have a higher chance of making it useful that we don't have. Cracking Roots alone is not enough. a percentage of more damage on Stone Skin on a champion skill is not enough. Cracking Roots plus a percentage of destroying Stone Skin on a skill is not enough. So maybe the Stone's Clever, but plus Cracking Roots, plus a really strong skill might be enough now.
Okay.
So we have at least the chance of getting skills that really destroys the Stone Skins. Now with this new set, we're gonna need to test to see if it's possible, but I have faith that we're gonna see Trundas breaking Stone Skins soon.
Well, I guess we can start with Trunda then, because she's on our list. She was actually at the bottom of the list, but I'm going to move her all the way to the top as kind of an honorable mention because it's speculative in nature, right? Like, we have a lot going on right now. We have the new sets introducing the game at this time of the recording. I don't think anybody in the world yet has enough to pull a 9-piece of any of these sets, so we're speculating on that. And we're also speculating because we know Fabian, at the time of this recording, nobody has him yet, but when this video goes live, people will be starting to get him, and he's certainly going to be a menace in the arena as well. So there's a lot coming in terms that we'll continue to switch things up.
Stay tuned for that, and of course, as always, until our next adventure.
But I wanted to talk about Trunda because you asked me, we were kind of going through the list of the champions you wanted to talk about, and you're like, have you tried Trunda? And I'm like, tried Trunda? What do you mean? So talk to me a little bit about Trunda and what you think, why you think she could be so special again and see herself getting some arena play time for the first time in years.
Yeah, that's just speculation because we didn't test it. We don't have the means to test it yet, not even on the test server. But after they changed the Trunda kit to have more damage on Stone Skin, and she's able to do more damage on Stone Skin, you have the Blessing Cracking Roots doing more damage on Stone Skin. These alongside are not enough to break the Stone Skin, but they are really close to be able to break the Stone Skin using a Trunda as a sort of a debuffer. She's not a nuker anymore.
Yeah.
She's going to destroy the Stone Skin through damage, but you're not going to kill the champions while doing that. But
stun them.
At this moment, you're not able to break the Stone Skin most of the time. But a Trunda with Cracking Roots plus Stone Clever, that will probably, the speculation part, break the Stone Skin. And if you're able to break the Stone Skin, and your Trunda has a little bit of accuracy, she will be able to break the Stone Skin and stun your opponents. So she will be a very viable champion to be a kind of mixed past nuker to break Stone Skins and do something for your other champions to go. She will do the role that the Marius does right now. That is to remove the Stone Skin and take a lot of HP of your opponents. So the other champions that goes after him kill everybody.
Yeah.
She will do exactly the same role as Marius if that strategy becomes possible with the new set, Stone Clever.
I love it, man. I love that call out because I don't know. There's something about, like, it's been so long since Trunda's been, the nuker. She used to define. I mean, obviously you can still use Trunda, right? Like, especially progression wise, but she's been out of the real meta after Stone Skin, and it'd be so cool to see her again in a different way as a control Stone Skin breaker and stunner have a place. Who's next on the list? Do you have the list in front of you, or do you want me to name the champions that we already talked about?
This is better.
Okay. Well, one is already in the meta, but I feel like people still underrate him, and this is probably the only, maybe a couple examples of this on the list. But He-Man, talk a little bit about He-Man. How good do you think He-Man is? Like, give me do you think he's a top 5 attack-based damage dealer in the game? Top 10? Lower than that?
I think he can be around top 10. Hard to put him.
It's hard
on top 10 because there are so much situational things that could happen. But I think he's very interesting because he's one of the few champions, and a few champions that are not 10 in the game that can go through the Stone Skin and actually kill the champion and do that safely. We have very few amount of nukers that can do that. We have now Aliu, we have Georgid, we have Mazomel, we have Ieyasu, we have him, and they are the most common ones. And he's one of these few champions that are able to do that and be able to delete a champion through Stone Skin. You remove a lot of the safety of your opponent. Because when you see him, he's okay. My reviver is not going to be killed.
Yep.
If I lose the speed battle, I'm going to have my turn because I have my stone skin. But if there is a He-Man on the other side,
he's another lightning cage maniac too. He's another, like
he's a lightning cage maniac like us are right now.
With the speed aura too, and man, he smacks. Even that AOE, it can smack. So I think that I've underestimated not anymore, but I did, when I first started seeing him in the arena, I underestimated. I'm like, dude, He-Man, but let me say, he was a pay-to-win champion by the definition, but if you're an arena lover, he might have been worth it. He might have been your best purchase.
That's my boy.
If you have him, because he's really solid. I love that speed aura.
He's a champion with a speed aura that's really good because we live in speed meta. He has 2 sources of damage, the HP and the attack, which is easier to beat him with more damage, because sometimes you have a broken piece out there that you want to grab the critical damage and it has HP there, that an attack champion will lose everything about that attack. He-Man, no. He-Man will take advantage of the critical damage, the HP, the attack, the critical hit, the speed. Everything almost on this champion is good.
Yeah.
And he has on his skill more things that multiply his damage, like the buffs. So a lot of sources of damage and the ability to ignore stone skin and self-buff, which is almost everything that you want on a Nuka. If he had one more thing, that it was survivability, he would be a top 10 Nuka. Out of everything, even mythicals. Yeah. If he had the survivability, he would be a top 10. Without the survivability, he drops. He drops. But he's still crazy good. All
right. So He-Man, we love. Did you watch He-Man growing up in Brazil?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I mean, I did too. All right. So we already talked quite a bit about Hegemon, but again, so this guy is back. Nukamon is back. And you said, I think you already explained why, right? You said that people are, they want to go fast. So they're starting to sacrifice some more stone skins. So he's a conditional champion. He's a champion that you're going to want to be using when you don't think everybody's going to have stone skin, obviously, on the enemy team. If they have a fast shoot, if they go KruYsen, if they go, again, like you said, if you don't feel like you can outspeed your opponents, why not build a Hegemon, right? They're picking Arbiters and KruYsens, and you're like, oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to lose. Then why not go Hegemon, right? Anything to add on Hegemon?
In the past, when a Hegemon fell out of the meta, it was the introduction of the reaction, because he played before everything, so he action automatically countered him. He fell out of the meta. After the reaction, we had the stone skin, so he was already outside the meta. Then you had reaction plus stone skin. He was killed. Nobody even considered Hegemon a champion anymore. He was a vault keeper for a while. But now that speed is everything again. And people are sacrificing the stone skin, sacrificing the reactions to get the pinpoint and the speed set.
Supersonics and every,
to get faster and faster and faster. A champion that can go faster than the fastest champion and kill it before he does his action. It's a meta champion. So that's Hegemon is the champion to do it. And
he is a meta champion again. I never thought I'd see the day.
Yeah, and there is one more interesting thing.
Yeah.
He lacked in damage to do that huge strike many times, because the Savage was not enough without attack up or something to add to your damage to kill. But right now that we have Slayer sets to try to double the damage, or 9 pieces of Merciless, or 6 pieces of Merciless and Cruel, more ignore defense, and we have now the Cat's Gaze to ignore more defense outside a buffing champion or another thing happening. You might be able now to kill your enemies with Hegemon because of this amount of sets that we have and relics that help you to ignore the defense without having to record to any other thing outside the champion itself. So you can go a lot of pieces of Merciless, 9 is the best one, and a lot of pieces of Slayer, 9 is the best one, and Cat's Gaze, and destroy your opponent. If you use him with blessings, go for Soul Reap, because if the damage is not enough, maybe the blessing will finish the job, and it actually does, and it helps a lot. There are champions that you cannot kill with what's a single blow. But for example, you're there and you single blow a
Siegfried or whoever, yeah.
Siegfried, you don't kill him, but the Soul Rip goes there and zoom, and they are dead. Even having passives to mitigate that, they're dead.
Yeah, I love it. Everybody who has a Hegemon should rebuild and unvault and use. At least have them there, especially if you're into live arena, right? Have them on your sideline, because I would not be shocked. I haven't looked in a while, but I would not be shocked if you go to Hell Hades KruYsen website and see his win rates sky high, because he's so situational that when you're using him, you know oftentimes you're going to get that dub. Same thing with Tormund, right? Like, it's, again, they're both Void legendaries, so we're not going to spend a ton of time on them, but you guys know Tormund, but, like, Tormund is, maybe because of the next guy we'll talk about, too. Why don't we just talk about them together a little bit? But Tormund's the same thing as Hegemon. If you don't have a Hegemon, but you're going to get a bunch of speed boosters, buffers, whatever, you know that he's going to be able to come in and freeze them and give you a chance, a fighter's chance of going and controlling them. And because Burn is also the meta, well, he pairs very nicely with the next champion that we're going to talk about, and that is Sulfurion.
Ross? Can we just close the door?
Again, I'm starting with a bunch of Void Legos, so I apologize, but they're all insane for different reasons. Why don't we pause on Sulfurion? You can talk about why this guy is top of the meta right now in the arena. We all knew he's a beast anywhere you need a burn or burn activation, but why is he so good in the arena? And if you have any thoughts on Tormund too.
Tormund and Sulfurion are Void champions. Not everybody have them. Tormund is a little bit easier because he was a fusion. A long time ago, he was a guaranteed champion. A time ago, we had many events, and he's been there for a long amount of time. So the chance of more players having him is higher. And Sulfurion, he's a really, really strong champion on this meta. Sulfurion has a revive on his kit, which is good. He is a speed booster itself, but he is a really good starter. Even there are some players using him as the fastest champion on the account, because what he's able to do, he's able to start the battle, break all the stone skin because of his HP burn, and with the right blessing, something like Incinerate, you're gonna be able to break the stone skin, drop the enemy rate, and buff your team's turn meter in the same move. You're gonna do the opposite of speed boosting. You're gonna speed downgrade your enemies, which makes the same effect in the end. If you aren't able to bring your team up, you're going to bring your enemy team down. And he's one of the champions that do that with majesty.
Yeah.
Majesty. He's going to break all the stone skin with the HP burn.
And get a 20% boost. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what a different kind of speed boosting of the normal, that is just bringing your turn mid up.
Right.
You're going to speed boost your champion through downgrading your enemy team. At the same time, you're going to remove their most precious buff, that is the stone skin. That's why Sulfurion became a speed boost champion out of nowhere. In the middle of the meta, he became a speed boost champion, and the possibility of combo with other champions, like the one we had said before, Tormund. When you have a HP burn proccing and you have a Tormund on your team, he's going to automatically proc his A1. And you're gonna break the stone skin. The champions are vulnerable. The Tormund's going to A1. A lot of times there is a lot of chances of proccing.
It's amazing. Yeah.
The freeze. Or if you have Tormund in another set, like stun, proccing stun, and you're gonna be in a loop of HP burn and freeze, and they have a good animation when they are together. A blue flame.
Yeah, dude, it's nuts. It's like a machine gun of just ice and flame and burn. It's nasty. So, yeah, it's really cool. Honestly, I when I first started seeing Sulfurion in the arena, I was like, okay, so they're kind of using him like just a stone skin, and I just forgot, frankly, that he has that turn meter in the very beginning and I'm like, oh, the more I went against him, I'm like, oh, I get it. So it's really cool to see him in the arena meta. I want to move on to a free champion. Yes, we do have one on the list.
One
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. One thing. Have you ever heard about a team that can go infinitely using their skills, using Torment's Furium?
Let me guess.
For example, you're gonna use Late Noel as a speed ally.
I was gonna say, okay, yeah.
You're gonna use Torment to do the freeze and the damage. You're gonna use Sulfurion to break the Stone Skin fastest champion, and you're gonna use for something like a Siphi, for example, to give a defense up to boost the damage of your Torment. You're gonna boost with the Siphi, for example. You're gonna break the Stone Skin with the Sulfurium. The HP burn is going to break the Stone Skin, proc the Torment. The Torment is going to hit, maybe freeze someone. If it does not freeze, you're gonna freeze them with the Noel, and you're gonna use the A3 of the Torment because everybody's freezed and HP burn and all that. Torment's going to refresh his skill, and you can do that infinitely.
It's
until they die. And if they have a turn, they will proc the HP burn and proc the Torment A1 again and again and again and again.
So much fun, man. I showcased that team on, I forgot the video, but like a few weeks ago, maybe on a champion guide. But so much fun to pull a team like that off. It's a nasty combo. All right, now the freebie, and this one is when you said it, because you mentioned her, Eric's. You mentioned her, and I didn't think you were joking or anything like that, but I was like, okay, you're just trying to throw a freebie in there, but you were serious. Talk about why you love Eric's.
Eric's is a very different pick because not much people value her the way she deserves. She's a champion capable of winning battles with just one A1. That's the kind of damage her A1 can do. Her counter attack, it's massive. Her A1 damage is massive. And in a meta that we see a lot of bombs, killing champions very fast.
Mm-hmm.
And champions, for example, like Calamitus, that takes advantage of the HP difference to detonate their bombs. That's where Eric's is going to be the most dangerous champion to face. Because you can give up on your speed. In the middle of the speed meta, you're going to give up your speed boots to put an HP boots on her. You're going to put out a ton of HP on her. She's going to be very slow. But you're going to try to put counterattack accessories, counterattack masteries, whatever you can put to make her do counterattacks, put on it. And they won't be able to kill her with the bombs. Or even detonate the bombs with Calamitus or normal bombs. Because of the amount of HP she's going to have. So you're going to maybe...
So HP percentage on the boots.
Yeah.
4-piece Stone Skin, 2-piece counterattack, retribution, deterrence.
You don't even need Stone Skin if you're going to use her mainly against the bombs. Because you don't want the double damage of the bomb on you.
True.
So you take the bomb away, the Stone Skin away of her, put the counterattack sets, Revenge or any other counterattack set. Revenge is better because you can put more parts and proc more times, more chances.
This is great. I think I might do a video on this build. This is I'm dying to get this build down. I love it. Yeah.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.
So you're gonna have trouble with other champions, but the bomb champions that are really in the meta, you can counter them with this way. You're not going to counter avoiding being bombed. You're going to be bombed, but you're going to survive, or even not cleanse before you die, and you're going to counterattack and smash them by just raw damage of an A1, which is really insane. And there's a few champions only can do that, only a few. And Eric's is one of them. Eric's is one of them. You can trust her A1 damage, you can trust her other skills damage also, but the A1 is the key. And the counterattack on her is like massive. I lost some battles on my own account and on Dog's account to teams that done that, and I was like, come on, I can't believe I lost Eric.
I love it though, and I mean, just the removal of buffs in addition on the A1, right? You get the 35% chance. I think with Sniper you can actually get a 40% chance. Like that's going to clear the way for her as well on that A1 on all those counterattacks. So man, I'm dying to pull that build off. I think it's really fun. She has a turn meter support on the Cynical passive too, so she has some mechanisms to go a little bit faster, and to catch up a little bit.
Yeah,
even though it's coming from the counterattack
really,
mostly.
She's a really good champion that many people don't think she's good just because she was a login champion.
A login, yeah. That's cool.
And she's sitting there on the vault while she didn't.
Talk a little bit about Freya.
A really interesting champion. A champion that is not only interesting because she doesn't have only one build that she's viable. She has more than one.
Mm-hmm.
But in my opinion, the best build for Freya, if you're going to build her, is not fast and with a lot of resistance, like many people build her, because they want to clean the bombs with the buff removal, the debuff removal, and the buff protection. But the best way, and the way I build her most of the time, is damage dealing Freya.
Yes.
You're gonna still be able to cleanse, but you're gonna be so dangerous with that A1. Another champion like Eric's that can do A1s and destroy the enemy teams through that A1.
It's
and you
that
can do
shield.
the A1 and provoke.
Yeah.
That's going to destroy the enemy strategy most of the time. And there is one more thing. She can be a cleanser just by being there. She can be half a nuker in a damage build. At the same time, the champion that you has the highest critical damage outside her is not going to die on one skill, on one hit at least. So you're gonna add the chance of your opponent trying to kill your team with a not multiple hit skill and proccing an extra turn on your most fearsome champion that is your best nuker out there. And this nuker might have a chance of destroying your enemy team. For example, you have a Wukong and your opponent has a Siegfried and they see the Wukong there and they are, okay, I'm just going to lightsaber that Wukong to death because he has very low stats of health and they're going to destroy everybody. And they try to do it. They forgot there's a Freya there. Boom! Extra turn on the Wukong.
I think a lot of people forget she even has that ability, and it's so powerful, and it can change everything. To your point, in a match, I mean, what a nasty kit she has, huh? I definitely underrated her when she was released. I think it's because I didn't know about how hard that A1 can hit. Have you ever went against? I've gone against her in live arena. I think even yesterday I went against her, and I was like, oh crap, and because she's tough, she can be tough. But they didn't build her as a nuker, and when she started counterattacking because of the shields breaking, I was so relieved. I'm like, man, they're leaving so much potential off the table by not building her with any crit rate, because that can smack, man. It can be so annoying, that A1, but her whole kit
usually
is great.
ban her because I fear that champion.
You ban her?
I ban her. There is a lot of champions that are really strong. Marichika, you're gonna see nice there.
Yeah.
But when I see a Freya, I'm okay. I might burn the Freya because
there's a lot to remember that she does. Yeah, she's a threat.
She's going to proc another champion that I don't remember, and they're going to have a turn.
Yeah. She's a triple threat, man. So
or I'm not going to kill her. I'm going to kill another champion because they are more threatening. And I'm going to forget about her. She's going to have a turn and kill me with that A1.
Go ahead, sorry.
One more thing.
Yeah.
Not pick her as first pick. Let her for the last picks if you're going for live arena. Because she can play the role of a third nuker, a third support, or a helper. A champion that helps you doing whatever you want, survive or killing. She can do the same role, both roles at the same time. So you don't want to pick her very soon on your picks. Let it for the end, because you're going to surprise your opponent, and your opponent is not going to know what she is.
Exactly.
Because if you have two nukers, two supports, and you pick a Freya, you have no idea what build this Freya have. But if you have only one nuker, you pick a Freya,
you'll tip in your hand. Yeah.
Knows she's going to be a nuker. So he can bet on some other strategy because he already knows she's a nuker. But if you let her to the end and you have some champions, your opponent's not going to know how she's built. And that's very important to beat her, how she's built.
That's really cool. I love that. There's not that many champions in the game that you just have no clue exactly what you're going against, and she's one of them. 3 left on the list. I'm going to go with Goffred Brassclad next. Goffred Brassclad. This is a guy that you don't see that much, but he's, again, Similar to Freya, maybe a little bit more than meets the eye.
Yeah, it's exactly the same strategy as her. He's not as dangerous as her because I think she's more complete. Her kit's better than his.
Yeah.
Because of the cleans, just because of the cleans. But I think he's more dangerous than her if you have a defense-based team, because he's able to do more to your team, taking out the defense of your opponent. You're gonna kill them so easily. Even him, he's a champion that needs to be there to avoid your champions to get destroyed by one hit. So if your opponent is using just 2 nukers and you can burn one of his nukers, and his nukers depends on one hit KO, for example, Rotos, Siegfried, or Mazamel, you can go there and put a Goffred just to destroy their strategies. They have a very fast team with a Mazamel that's going to kill your nuker, and you're going to lose because you don't have to compete with his speed. And that last pick of Goffred, that your opponent doesn't have a counter anymore, and now he needs to think in a way of making you lose the passive of the Goffred before killing your champions. That mess up entirely the strategies that
disruption. Yeah.
And this champion is one of the few that can do it passively. He's just sitting out there. Don't kill my nuker. Don't kill my nuker. You're gonna regret it. You're going to get stunned. The nuker is going to have block damage. I'm going to have my turn and I'm going to stun you or give defense to my champions. And you can even build him with nuke stats, the same as Freya, Stone Skin and Savage, and he will protect the nuker or the champion that's going to die the same way. He is a very underrated champion because he's not a meta champion.
Yep.
But he can counter the speed meta because he can do actions without making actions.
Yeah, I love this call out. Same thing, same reason. I mean, you said it best, man. But like, same reason you talked about Freya. Like he's an annoying guy that really does disrupt exactly what they want to do, and it makes you think a lot, you know. And you pile your team up with enough champions that make your opponent have to think all the time. And like, he's one of those guys that you're like, oh shoot, you know, like I forgot that he's gonna stun my nuker or whatever, you know. So, good call out. I got one mythical on the list.
Only one.
It's only one. And it's probably the one that nobody expects to be on the list. And that is the Calamitus. The Calamitus is the buff did its job, man. He's being used now, and this is pretty early on still. Like the buff happened a few days ago from the time of this recording. I'm seeing him a few times in top 100. He smoked me one time. Talk a little bit about the Calamitus.
Yeah. He doesn't have the craziest hit. Indeed, he does not have. But before the buff, was not able to do enough damage to kill an enemy team, which is not true anymore. Now he's able, after the buff, to do enough damage to kill entire team. If you let him smacks, he can smacks really hard right now. He doesn't need that much stats on him because of the extra critical hit every skill has, the extra ignore defense that almost every skill has. He self-buffs attack and a shield. So he has a team now that you don't necessarily need to put an attack up champion to buff him. He can do it by himself. And that alone made him a viable nuker that not many consider. And if you're able to heal some champions, he's a champion that's going to have a self buff and unkillable on himself, and maybe unkillable for your whole team out the 2 turns.
Yep.
Which is crazy. And bro, 2 turns of unkillable on a champion that can kill your entire team with a skill, it's something that you need to be warned about.
Yeah.
If you don't deal with that,
what are you doing? Are you opening with his A3 and then switching forms?
Depends. This champion has a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
His A1 is able to get you exitons. And if you are able to kill a champion with an A1, you're going to buff yourself again. You know?
Yeah,
so sometimes I try to strike easier targets with the A1 to mitigate my enemy teams with an A1 to boost something, to break
like
something
that.
with
Yep.
an A1, then I go for the nuking. But every time depends on the team.
Okay.
Sometimes instead of just nuking there and proccing something that I don't want, I go for the single hit of the A1 or
Yep.
the moot hit of the A2 on the first form. I prefer his first form for the arena. I think his first form is way better than the second form for arena. But for Hydra, the second form is amazing. And for Chimera, the first form is amazing.
Okay. Last champion on the list, and thanks again for being so generous of your time, man, is the Queen of Hearts. I don't have her, but man, I'm seeing a ton of her. I'm seeing a ton of the Queen of Hearts. Talk about the Queen of Hearts.
Again, speed meta, you're gonna to boost your team to get a lot of speed. Most of these boosting skills give a lot of buffs. So you sacrifice everything to be faster. But if you do everything and a champion goes there and intercepts you in the middle of your action and cleanses all the buffs that you put,
Yep.
and she puts True Fear for 2 turns on every champion that you have, and in one champion she puts a debuff that if he's killed, he's not going to come back. That's the Queen of Hearts. And she can do that multiple times in the battle, multiple times. Because when you're facing her, you're more afraid of yourself than you're afraid of her. Because
it wasn't until Odin that I'd realized how fast turns go by in this game.
Yeah.
I think it was like Monkey King, Sun Wukong was the first. And you're like, wow, 3 turns is very fast.
And that's where the Queen of Hearts, you're going to learn how important the order of the kings matters in this game. Because, for example, Marius.
And I said turns, I meant buffs, like how fast the buffs add up, like on a team.
No, champions like Marius, you on your head, you know that Marius is going to buff, get an extra turn, and destroy you. But if you're facing a queen, the act of buffing and getting the extra turn just after buffing is enough to proc her before you proc yourself.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you're going to buff.
Yeah. Gizmac too. Yeah.
Gizmac too. So you're going to buff, but you're going to buff first, get your extra turn next. When you buff, you already give her a turn. So she's going to play her extra turn before your extra turn. And you buff, and she takes away your buff and puts you fear, or you buff and she gives you a ally attack and kills you before you do your action.
Man, I wish I had the queen.
She is an insane pick, but again, do not pick her in the first spot of your team.
Yeah.
Do not pick her in the second spot of your team. Do not pick her in the third spot of your team. 4th or 5th pick, because your opponent is going to prepare for something. I'm going to win the speed race, so I'm faster than this guy. I'm going to boost and destroy him with my horse, and then a queen in the last spot, and he's okay. I need to rethink what I'm going to
everything.
do.
Yeah.
I'm going to have my first turn with my Sifi, but I cannot use the A3 because he's going to cut me and he might kill me or do something that I don't want. So now I have to think what I can do with my A1 without boosting. Will I win the speed race without boosting? And that's what Queen of Hearts is able to do. She's a massive addition to any team. Go second or go first.
Yeah, I totally agree. I go against her, like I said, I go against her a lot, man. And I'm just glad she doesn't have a speed aura. Not that ally attackers do, but like typically, but like that's like the only saving grace is like, I don't know, like, she's annoying. She's annoying and such a manipulator. I think that, Odin's still probably my least favorite to go against out of all the meta champions out there with the block damage incessantly. But like these every something dramatic happens are nuts. Actually, though, I kind of like it though, man. I kind of like it's a new dynamic they added to the game, which is it's fun. I think the counterplay is really fun.
Yeah, and she's a counter to Odin somehow because if he procs his passive,
she'll go. She might go and remove.
She might proc her and cleanse you. Yeah. And really... on her ally attack, there's something really interesting. She's the first to go. And while she's the first to go, he has an AoE 100% void skill that puts defense down. So she has one of the best defense down skills in the game on the A1, and she's going to do that before your whole team goes on the ally attack. So
Nasty.
that's insanely powerful. If you
Indeed.
have a horse that has an insane powerful AoE A1,
Yep.
and the entire team that you're going to use that A1 on the horse has a decreased defense before the horse doing it, bro, the horse is going to destroy everything with his A1 because she lands the decreased defense out there.
Yeah. Man, well, that is, as always, a very generous rundown of everything that's going on in the most cutting edge of the meta of Raid right now. Champions who are seeing a resurgence, champions who are already like on their way trending up, who have now come to define the meta in a lot of ways. Maybe a few sleeper picks in there for you guys, as well as blessings and gearing and everything. In addition to that, I should have called this out at the beginning of the video, but I'll have in the pinned comment, the description of this video, KruYsen's channel. KruYsen, congratulations on 8K. You finally have the dev build. Is that the server? You got the test server?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I got it.
Big shout out to you guys for subscribing. But hey, man, let's try to get KruYsen to 10K. Why not? Amazing content, a lot of good live streams. I hang out in his live streams. Sometimes I lurk, sometimes I chat a little bit as well. But like, there's nothing better than turning on the KruYsen live stream and then playing a little live arena at the same time. So I'd highly recommend you go ahead and check him out. KruYsen, thanks again for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the video. Thanks for watching till the end. And as always, take care, guys.